Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Make sure everything is all set. Perfect. It is Friday. Happy Friday. You made it. We're gonna have a great day. We're gonna have another great day and a great Saturday and Sunday. Hey, honeybee, what's going on? I know I'm a lot earlier, but listen, I had to take the opportunity and listen. I had a chance to talk to the owner of the CEO of Turnsignl. Hey, how you guys doing? Hey, Saint Gomez, what's going on? Hey, Ryder 972. Hello, welcome in, everybody. How's everybody doing? Hi, Patricia. Today we've got a CEO coming in. Listen, I know I have been ranting and raving about this app, but it's because I need it. it's I know I need it. I know that you guys need it. Hey, New York. Listen, New York, I was just there last night. I was there for a retirement party in New York City, and I almost got pulled over by the cops, but I stayed ready with my app. Listen, New York is not to be played with. And I don't care where I am, not gonna play with getting pulled over by the cops in any way, shape, or form. So I have Turnsignl on both of my phones. Listen, I'm too old to go to jail. Hey, Drew, the CEO, what's going on? Where's everybody coming in from? Where's everybody coming in from? Because listen, we're gonna talk about Turnsignl. We're gonna talk to the CEO in a few minutes, and I think I sent you messages on TikTok. Okay, listen, I got like a lot of messages coming through right now, so I'm just coming home, so I'll go through my phone when I get a chance this afternoon and go through all my messages, and see what I can see. Come on through with it, Georgia. Come on, Florida. Listen, I know that, hi from New Jersey. I just came back from Ohio, Black Expo. Thank you for supporting Black owned businesses. You guys are awesome. Long Island. Listen, if I go out to Long Island, I may not make it back. Okay. Just come on through with it, Detroit. I'm not kidding. So if you guys ever get a chance, let's see if he's in the room right now. If you guys ever get a chance, and I know I've talked about this many times, get Turnsignl. I'm not joking. I have it. I have it on both my phones. We're not playing about that life right now. Did I see a Tar Heel come squeezing in through here? Let me scroll back and see if I see that. Yes, I do see a Tar Heel coming through here. Let's see, where is everybody at? Cause listen, my family, Tar Heel State. Come on through to North Carolina. Going through the North Carolina. Yeah, I'm not about playing around or messing around with the idea of losing much of anything else that's going on in these great places. Ghana, girl, listen, I love listen. I've been to Accra. Did I pronounce that right? Accra. I've been to Accra many times. Beautiful place, lovely people. It's just a long flight for me. It's a long flight. I gotta go back. Keep pushing your platform is needed and necessary. Our unity as well. I wish people could understand how important and how important it is to make sure that we support each other, especially in this, to know like what businesses are out there, who's actually stealing our content, what's actually happening. Because the more you know, the more it makes it easier for people to understand who you can and who you can't support or who you shouldn't support. And Jazz Hampton from Turnsignl, star, welcome.
How's it going? Thanks for having me. I'm thrilled to be here. I appreciate you.
Anytime. Listen, when I tell you I found out about your app, I do fire drills with this now. Uh, just like we did when we were in class.
Yeah,
Like I was in New York last night. I went to a retirement party. So shout
sure.
out to the Headleys. You got that family's amazing. But on my way to the train station, on my way to Penn Station, the lights were in the rear view, and I was just like, I reached for my phone. I'm like, Siri, open turn signal.
hmm Yeah,
Because even as a passenger,
yeah.
I was just like, I got to make sure that I am not going to get. How did you and the guys that you were with? How did you guys come up with this, or why did you come up with this?
Yeah, no, it's I first of all, again, thanks for having me and I appreciate you.
Anytime.
So people don't know Turnsignl connects drivers to an attorney on a video call, just like we're having right now, instantly when you've been pulled over. And myself and my two co-founders, two black men from the same neighborhood that I grew up in, we all met in college, and my undergrad was in computer science. And then I went to law school. When I was in law school, I started as a public defender, and then I went on to be a practicing lawyer for a lot of years. And so after the tragedy of George Floyd happened within a few miles of where we all live, they called me and they were like, "Hey, we have to build a solution. And you have a computer science degree and you're a lawyer. Dre is a finance background guy, and Mike was in tech sales. And we felt like we always call our text thread to this day is called the Telelegal Avengers. It's like we're here with different skill sets coming to fix the problem. And so like
Awesome.
that was like the impetus. That's how we started it, and we've never looked back. We've been up and running now almost 5 years.
Now you could easily just sit back and relax and just keep pushing turn signal because especially right now with a lot of what's going on in this political environment, you could easily just sit back in comfort and just turn signal all day long.
Yeah.
But you now are running for mayor
That's
yeah, why? Like I mean and it's not and I don't mean to say it in a condescending way,
yeah.
but why?
No, I can't tell you how many people say it in the same way that you just said it. They'll approach my wife and they'll say things like, Thank you for your service," as if I'm being deployed somewhere. Because that's what it feels like right now. It feels like in this political space, it
Yeah.
is an all-out war zone. And frankly, that's part of the issues and why I stepped into this space. When I sat down with my wife and I really wanted to explain to her why I want to do it, I said really simply, listen, we started Turn Signal because we saw a problem and we knew if we could take action, we could solve it. I've represented wrongfully incarcerated people successfully. When I saw an issue, I take charge, I try to solve it. When I saw that only 5% of teachers in Minnesota are black men, I took charge and I started being a professor. Like if I see a problem and I think that I can address it and help, I don't know. That's the way I was raised. My dad was like, "You have to do it." Then it's not a choice. It's not something you can decide. You have to step up. And frankly, our city of Minneapolis, we should be like the Northern Star for how police should interact with
Yeah.
citizens now, and we're not. Like police reform, we had all of the energy and the motivation. The protests for George Floyd were across the globe, across the country, and they were. It was
It's
a huge part of our
huge.
lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And so we had all the momentum in the world, and we just haven't seen the progress that any of us think that we should have. I mean, our governor just said it 2 weeks ago. We haven't seen the progress that we should have or deserve in the city of Minneapolis, and that's just one of the many issues that we're facing. And frankly, if I have an opportunity, the knowledge, the skill set, the background to help, I need to do it. It's an obligation, frankly.
Now, I've seen, like, I've been following you ever since I've downloaded that app, Love Turn Signal, and you are so nice. You are so nice. And could, and here's my question. In this political environment, do you think your niceness is what people are like I think a lot of people are now like looking for that in the trenches, doggy, like I will choke you, like scrappy type of mindset because it literally does feel like we're in a battle and a fight for our lives in
Yeah,
this environment. So when you talk about become like you running for mayor and you taking on this huge you're things on a local level are the most important thing. Voting locally is the most
yeah.
important thing, the most quickly impactful thing in everyone's environment. Do you think you have that heft and that like doggedness to make sure that you take care of your constituents?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Chance the Rapper in one of his songs said it best. He said, "I'm not the nice guy, I'm the good guy, and the bad guys better stay on my good side." Right? And so like yeah, it can seem nice, but I'm not nice, I'm just the good guy. And that means
Okay.
sometimes you have to do difficult things in the face of adversity when the bad guys are doing the bad things. And I believe that we have to do that. So the bad guys better stay on my good side, just like Chance the Rapper said. But what does that actually look like in practice? I
Yeah.
think it's really clear when people are yearning for better housing for our neighbors that can't find a place to sleep at night. When they are saying police reform should have happened 50 years ago or definitely 5 years ago after the tragedy of George Floyd, we have to stand up for those
Yeah.
folks. We have to have that grit and tenacity. And trust me, in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, we are a very diverse city. We are like a Chicago feeling city. We have so many immigrants. We have people from all over the globe that have landed here. And in the city of Minneapolis, we have to be able to step up and do that work on behalf of those folks, the folks that are marginalized day in and day out. And frankly, uh, we haven't felt like we've had it in many years, in many, many years. So it's an opportunity to step up and do that for those folks. And frankly, I'm excited to do it,
Now,
you know?
like Minneapolis is a little bit personal to me because I had a couple of my girlfriends who lives there,
Hmm.
her and her husband Karen, and she's a lawyer. She's a teacher in
Hmm.
Minneapolis, and I for many people who know, like I had been out on a medical, and between her and her husband Cranston helping me along the way, like I love them to death. They're like family,
Yeah.
and I had reached out to her to ask her, I'm like, okay, as a teacher, what if you could ask Jazz something most directly? What would be one of the most important questions that you have to ask someone who is a mayoral candidate? And first she said, she goes, she knows you, and she
It's
she
good.
just
It's
not
good.
knows you, but she
Yeah, yeah.
knows of you, and she says, yeah. She goes, he seems like a really great guy. She goes, I'm most likely going to vote for him. I'm like,
Mm,
awesome. Like, yeah,
appreciate
okay.
that.
And I was just like, well, what is it? I said, what one question, if you could, or what questions would you love to ask him if you had the opportunity? And she goes, I would love to know how, with all the cutbacks to education and the educational system in the Minneapolis area, what were your goals and your strategies and plans to help fund the educational system in Minneapolis with all the cutbacks to the Department of Education in the United States and education as a whole, through Minneapolis and the surrounding areas.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of alluded to it earlier. I teach a finance course at a local university here in the Twin Cities, and it's really simple. Money and running a city and business is simple. You have money coming in and you have money coming out. And if you don't increase the amount of money coming in, then you're gonna eventually face cuts on the other end. And unfortunately, Minneapolis public schools have really bared the brunt of that. They are not funded in the way that we really hope they should. And it's funny, we do pretty well across national averages of students reading and graduation rates, except for reading comprehension and test scores for Black children. And like in Minneapolis, it's no question about it. We used to say a phrase where like, at least we're better than Mississippi. We aren't anymore. Like the disparity is we are in the bottom five across the country of as the city of Minneapolis in the difference between how reading scores for Black children are and for their white counterparts. And that's unacceptable. And it's been that way for years. And no matter how many few steps forward we take, we aren't bridging that gap. And so, yeah, the funding has to be there. And when money is running low or we're short on it, the last thing we need to be doing is taking that from communities where they already are struggling to
Yeah.
afford to have additional services for those students. And what's unique about Minneapolis is our school board controls the money and the decisions of the Minneapolis Public School. And so what that lets our current administration do, our current mayor's office and city leadership do is they have a hands-off policy like, oh, it's not on me. If it's going bad, we don't control that budget or those the purse strings there. And just putting your hands up, those children when they turn 18, they're going to be graduating and trying to live in this city. When they're trying to find work, they're going to be struggling because they're behind their peers. Just because it is not our direct responsibility doesn't mean we should not be a part of that conversation. We have to be a part of that conversation and we have to support it. And there's things you can do outside of the walls of the school. How are we funding as a city after school programs to ensure that kids have a place to go to do the homework and to get the things done so they can be successful within the classroom? There's a million things we need to be doing and stop this hands-off policy from education because frankly from our city leadership it's unacceptable.
Now, what do you think you bring that's different than the people that you're running against and the incumbent mayor?
Yeah. Sometimes people say, "Oh, you've never held elected office before," and I say, "Yeah, but let's talk about resumes like this is any other job." I've owned and run a business for the last 5 years that now serves 200,000 people across the country, connecting them to attorney in real time. I've been a professor of entrepreneurial finance. I've been a courtroom lawyer. But when I started as a lawyer in law school, I was a public defender. I am a parent of 3 children that go to Minneapolis public schools. Who is more qualified to be the leader of a city, especially in a city where we have what's called a strong mayor system? And what that makes you, it makes you like the captain of the team or the CEO of the organization. And you should bring some management and leadership skills. Someone from an organization that manages, do you know how hard it is to manage hundreds of lawyers answering calls across the country? This isn't easy work, right? You have to have that kind of lived experience to transfer that well into leadership within the city. And beyond all of that, I've done the work in the nonprofit space. I'm on Catholic Charities Board addressing homelessness. I've been Great North Innocence Project representing wrongfully incarcerated individuals. The Minneapolis Foundation, which does the most philanthropic and hands-on work in the economic justice that we need to do within our city. So yeah, I didn't become a city council member in my 20s and then hope that that will turn into mayor later. I was out here doing the work of all of the constituents and what they're feeling day in and day out. And frankly, that's the best person to represent the
Yeah.
city in this moment.
I think right now, because we've seen what's happened in the presidential administration, our current administration that we have right now, and how we as a whole as Americans are looking to have something different, like have that those people who are actually in the community doing the work actually start representing us in the way that they need to be. Because in this day and age right now, we're looking at a lot of the people who seem to be just career politicians. Now,
Yeah.
do you, which doesn't help it doesn't apparently seem to be helping us as a whole. Do you have any concerns of people thinking or looking at you as, oh, he's just another career politician who just wants to climb the ladder and make his way to success and just make money and
Yeah.
dip? Do you ever
Yeah.
have that concern for people who are looking at you saying like, oh, well, yes, he's got the family and the three kids, but is he really here for us?
Yeah, I've lived within, I'm sitting in Northeast Minneapolis right now. I've lived within 8 miles of where I'm sitting for my entire life. Like, this isn't just the community I'm stopping in or the launching pad to some other career aspirations in politics. This is just my community.
Mhm.
I've lived it. I've traveled, I've visited other states and cities across the country, but I've always lived here, and it's because I care about this city and this community. And that's what I'm here to do. Again, this is another rap line, but like I'm here for a good time, not a long time. If I need to get in here and do the work, the good work that needs to be done, and someone else can take over, or I can move on to go back into serving the community in the way that we are here at Turnsignl or as a teacher, I want to do that. But in this moment, I honestly felt like, gosh, is anyone going to step up with the skills and experience that we need in the city to do it? And frankly, I didn't see it. That's why I was the last person to enter the race. I was like, well, if I don't do it, I'm worried that we won't have the person with the qualifications to do the job well, and the person that can actually do the work to win the race as well. And without that, I was nervous about what the future held for our city. So no, I'm not here to be a career politician. I'm just here to get the good work done for the community that I've lived in and been a part of for every year of my entire life.
Now, what's the hardest thing about running it as a mayor? Like what are the issues that you face in like the reality of being a person who's a little like, are you bootstrapping? Are you do you just are you going door to door? Like what is the hardest thing about this mayoral race for you?
Listen, you hit it on the head. It's the fundraising aspect. It's wild. So let me explain this to people because again, if you've never been in it, it's kind of hard to imagine. First of all, you don't get paid as you're running. You have to have a full-time job. I'm still the full-time CEO of Turnsignl. I'm here in the Turnsignl office right now taking this call. So that is my income still as my day job, while I'm also at the same time running for mayor, which is it feels like a second full-time job. Um, in order to win, you have to raise money to get your name out there. We have 430,000 people in the city of Minneapolis. And to get 100,000 or 90,000 of them to vote for you, they have to hear your name.
Yeah.
And they only hear your name if you're paying for it to be somewhere or if you're constantly in community. And so we're trying to do both. Those text messages that are annoying that everyone receives, but that's often the way that you hear about candidates. It costs $350 to send 10,000 people a message. We need 100,000 to vote for me. And that's just one message. And so fundraising is a nonstop grind, and we're always doing it. And so, whether it's to people listening today or if they watch this later, that's one thing that is always helpful is if they're able to be a part of the fundraising process. And it's May 30th right now. If you want to donate, $6.30, like that means a lot. And if we get hundreds and hundreds of people to do that, then you'll be able to help push forward this name recognition campaign that we're on and trying to get folks. And plus, my name's Jazz, so it's not that hard to remember it after you
It's
hear it
easy to
once.
remember. It's
Yeah,
easy to
yeah,
remember.
yeah.
Now you've got fundraising, you've got the mayoral candidacy, you've got debates that will hopefully be coming up closer to the election day. How do you balance all and Turnsignl, a whole business that you're running? How do you balance that with family? You've mentioned you've got a wife, three kids, like that in of itself is a lot. Do you feel like, especially as a man, like a man and a father, do you feel like you're always present in every single moment? And if you like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I think the number one thing it has to look like is less sleep, because the work gets done in the evening a lot of times, like whether it's work stuff or campaign work that has to get done late at night, and then my wife hang out and I hang out and we have a glass of wine and maybe go to sleep late and up early to start the work again. But then for our family, honestly, before I decided, I sat down with my wife and we just had a very hard, like direct conversation. And I said, listen, if we do this, the family is going to be a part of it in a very real way. That means like we go to ward conventions. I don't know if you guys know what this is, but it's people in a gym for a long time debating who's going to be the DFL endorsed candidate. It's not fun. It's not glorious. It's a lot of boring speeches. My kids are coming every weekend. They're there with us because they have to be a part of it. But when my wife and I sat down and we talked about it, what we felt was this is an opportunity to teach our children from the day one. This is better than any class they'll take at Minneapolis Public School. This is what does democracy actually look like in
Look like,
real
yep.
yeah, and they get to see it, and so they get to come. But don't get me wrong. Yesterday I was at my son had a little his pre-K concert yesterday, and it's on my Instagram story right now. He's like waving and yelling "Dad" in the crowd, and then after that we scooped him up and we went to an event. It's a lot of balancing, but you know what? It's my children, I think, and my wife believe will be better for it. And I should say the last thing is like all of this is possible because I am married to the best woman in the world, and she is supportive in everything that I've done in my career, whether it's leaving a corporate law firm to start Turnsignl or from starting this race. You know, it wouldn't be done without her as well.
Which is awesome. Now, with your kids, like your wife understands. We're all adulting right now. What do you hope your kids take away from this? Like past like the democracy, watching their dad, who they see in all ways, like they've seen you be goofy, they've seen you passed out,
Yeah.
like they're just like, well, that's just my dad. Like, but what are you really hoping that you can impress upon your kids during all of this and everything that you're doing right now?
No, it sounds I have goosebumps from that question. It sounds cliche, but like, you know, my dad grew up one of 13 kids in Gary, Indiana. He never thought that his son would be running for mayor. Like the fact that I'm running, the fact that I went to law school, the fact that I graduated from college, I was the first person, my brother and I were the first person, the first two in our entire family on both sides to graduate from college. Like this is beyond what his ambitions and dreams were, and I'm proud to be a part of that. But what I want for my children is for it to be a super obvious thing. Like, of course I can. Like, yeah, no doubt in my mind. I want to strip away the thought that this is something that I have to strive for and work 30 times harder for. I want them to live and see it in daily life, so they never even have to think it's a barrier that they have to get over. You know, as I talk about this a lot, that like so many black films are like the struggle films, and it's never just a normal story about a non-racially divisive issue. It's like, oh, it's just a love story that happens to be about a black family,
Yeah.
you know, and like that's the normal life that I want my children to see, and hopefully we can start modeling right here in Minneapolis.
That's awesome. Don't make me
Yeah.
cry in like 2 seconds. Now, with Father's Day coming up, like
Yeah.
as a dad, what if your dream of dreams for Father's Day, if you could have two gifts for Father's Day, what would those two gifts be? Anything. Any
Listen,
two simple things.
I need some new ones. These are they've been getting worn out on the camping trail. So I hope my wife is watching right now. First of all, I need some new Jordan ones. That would be my first thing. And then the next, honestly, and it's funny, we started a group here in Minneapolis. Being around other dads and celebrating like what it's like to, especially black men that are our fathers and are in this space. We have like a every other Friday we have a black men like a dinner that we go and do, and we talk a lot about our families. And I think the other gift is like just being in community with those folks and seeing that with our families. Obviously, as dads and being together and seeing our kids together, it's something that is difficult to see. I'm going to meet with one of them after this for lunch, and I would love that. My second gift would be hanging out with that group of folks and just seeing like what it's like for all of us dads to be together in one place. I think that would be my second thing, and I think my wife would make that happen too. So we'll make all of these things happen. These are realistic goals.
Awesome. Now, here on the business side for Minneapolis, if because I was gonna try to make my way there a couple, like I said, about 10 days ago or so to go visit my girlfriend, and I wasn't able to make it into Minneapolis. What are your, like, let's say one of your top three recommendations of your favorite Black-owned businesses in the city?
Oh my gosh. Okay, first, uh, when I said we go to dinner, like we often go to Classics, which is a restaurant, a black-owned restaurant that is unbelievable. There's another one called Stepchild. Kamal owns Stepchild, and it is unbelievable. He blends like American styles with like his African roots, and the plates that come out of that are just amazing. And it's like very realistically priced for us folks here in
Nice.
Minneapolis. So I would definitely suggest both of those places. And then maybe on the topic of shoes, Studio 23 is a really great shoe store that's here in Minneapolis, and they are one of those few like very small, privately owned from a local person that has a direct connection to the factories over or to the larger Nike operation. So he gets the actual shoes that you hope to get. So those are just three things that kind of pop into my head right away. But yeah, I mean, it's all about, good places to eat and good places to
Yeah,
shop.
because like going to Mall of America, like no offense, it's cute. The bad
Yeah.
place is huge, but I want something easier and
Yep.
not so like overwhelming. But like you were saying earlier, you're hoping that with your mayoral candidacy and as we're all hoping that you would be that candidate in the future mayor of Minneapolis, when you're talking about people coming in or bringing money into the city, tourism has got to be on the top, like one of the top things to bring money into the city. With the concerns now of people having understandably odd issues of coming to the United
Mm,
States, you guys, like with Mall of America, you guys rely heavily on tourism and that tourism dollar. How do you think you could possibly translate that and roll that into something else, or still try to draw people into like what are the big things that you can say still come to Minneapolis if you're in the United States or you're coming in from overseas, because we have more than just Mall of America. We've got, what else do you have to help people understand, like, you guys can, everyone can still keep coming here and have this be a
yeah.
part of your tour of America?
Yeah, I think one of the number one tour spots, especially folks listening here, is Paisley Park. Like you seeing what Prince built here in the Twin Cities is always worth coming and seeing. I remember the sad day that when his passing was announced. I lived downtown, and we all flooded the streets. It looked like someone just won the Super Bowl. The way that our streets were flooded, and we all marched down to First Ave where he played so much and just like sat out there and listened to his music and sang his songs until like 2 in the morning. We love Prince and Paisley Park here, so that's one thing that you can always do. And the other thing, which I think is very real, is coming to see George Floyd Square and seeing that location and what it means to our city and to the world. We have a lot of work to do in the area, that's without a doubt. But coming and seeing it, it's like it will send a shiver up your spine without a doubt. Going and seeing it, and I bring my children there on days off from school. We try to stay grounded in that moment. But then the other thing, we're called the land of 10,000 lakes. And that makes it seems like that's a made up number. It's actually lower than the amount of lakes we have. We have so many.
Mm.
And coming here, yeah, I think it's north of 11,500. And but come like in the middle of Minneapolis, you have several lakes like Nokomis, you have Harriet, there's Lake of the Isles. All of these are lakes in the heart of our city. And coming in the summer, oh, I'll tell you what, we've tricked a lot of people to move here by coming in the summer when the weather is nice and you can walk around these lakes because you're like, I
It's
don't care what the
beautiful.
winter brings. It's perfect. It's beautiful. So coming and seeing that, I think is something else. And just walking around the lakes, there's always a restaurant on the lake that you can stop at and grab a coffee or a beer or cheese curds if you haven't had them yet. So I definitely invite you to do that.
I definitely have not had cheese curds there. Um, yeah, now there have been some people who have gone to from what I understand, gone to the George Floyd mural and tried to desecrate it on several occasions, and that is, I hate to say, kind of par for the
Mm,
course of having something that kind of shook the planet. another dying, and unfortunately, it was filmed of a black man in the streets. Do you think that the city as a whole could get to a point where everyone just understands that there are just some things that are too sacred to touch? Or do you want people to understand, like, no, this is really
Mhm.
America, and just let people see the truth of what people are fighting for, and why you're having this fight, and why you're taking this up.
No, I think exactly right. It's so frustrating because when that happens, you always feel like I can't believe nothing can be so sacred that it can't be desecrated in that way. But that reminder of there are people that still feel this way is what I think needs to be a part of the conversation. I think from a federal level, there's a lot of gaslighting and pretending like issues don't exist anymore or that this is no longer a thing. And seeing that firsthand is a real example of it. And frankly, during the protest after George Floyd, there were people coming into our city, and there's like a tire or a car shop that was damaged, and it was caught on video, and everyone was like, "See, people are just out here destroying things," and it was proven that it was an outside agitator that came just to rile things up. That needs to be brought to light because what we don't need is pretending like these issues don't persist and aren't real. The tragedy of George Floyd wasn't a new or isolated incident. It was just
Yeah.
recorded, right? And so now we since then we had more. Dante Wright lost his life. After that and before that, we had Philando Castile. Like these aren't isolated incidents. And we need to be able to keep that conversation in honest in the city.
I'm glad that you're up here like fighting the good fight. Like you're like
We
the
have to.
the real age superhero, because we need, honestly, in this day and age, we need more people like yourselves who actually stand up and, call BS for what it is,
Right.
but actually have an understanding of what all the problems really are, but still have the education to understand. Like, listen, here's something else that we can do. Here's other fixes for it. Where do you think some of your shortcomings are? Like where you need the most help in regards to either understanding or being a little bit more to be well informed of the topic. Where do you think you fall short on? Because we've seen the resume. Like we
Mm.
know like all the things that you know. But what about the things that you know that you don't know? Where does
Yeah.
that lie?
I think that line is what we are running towards the hardest right now, which is listen, you can pick any topic. You can choose police reform, you can choose affordable housing, you can choose economic growth of the city. And I have opinions on what can and should be done. But the gap that all of us have is, but what do the people that live there want? Because it's such a big
Yeah.
difference. A good example of this is we talked about police reform. And I was in my barber shop on the north side of Minneapolis. I was getting my hair cut, and my barber was like, "Yeah, but the police, like, I know people want more police because there's a lot of crime, but like, I don't know these people, and they don't live in my community. And the only time I see them is when they're pulling someone over. They get out and they give someone a ticket, and they get back in their car and walk away." He's like, "Why aren't they in my barber shop, walking in here while they're working and getting to know me?" And I was like, "Oh, that's a good idea." But guess what? I was in community, and so someone else in the barbershop that was sitting in another chair jumped in and were like, "But I don't feel safe with them walking in here with a gun. That makes me feel uncomfortable.
Mhm.
So why don't they, if they're going to come in here, it can be during work hours, but maybe they should just have a T-shirt on that says they're from MPD and not be carrying a gun and weapon to make me feel uncomfortable." Those are the conversations that I have to be a part of because you have to hear how the community actually feels. And that's, I think, the gap that a lot of people have, but you have to work to close that gap. I think too often, from what I see from politicians, they come in thinking like they went to Harvard or to some Ivy League school that gave them the knowledge that they know is right, and they're going to inflict that upon people. No, you have to hear what people want and are calling for and distill down how to get that done. So I think that's our biggest gap. But frankly, I think it's everyone's gap, and people don't try to fill that gap enough. They
Yeah.
try to think that they can solve it themselves.
I think that like honestly, if you get a chance, you should have more barbershop conversations and go live with
Mm.
that.
Oh,
Because
that's a
I
good idea.
think that it is like for many people, especially many black men, the barbershop is that one place where you guys just let loose.
Yeah,
You
that's
let
true.
loose, the conversation just keeps flowing. Yeah, you may have to edit. I don't even think you should edit anything out. Just
Mm.
have whatever full on conversation that you're having, because that's the reality of America inside a barbershop. And I think that resonates so well with so many men in general, because you guys are always getting your haircuts. Like you guys are gonna get lined up and everything. And the conversations, listen, I remember as a child going to my dad's barbershop and I was just like, is this how men really talk? I'm like, I just sat there as a child. I was just like, I'm just gonna sit here quietly
Yeah.
and just not be heard and just listen. And the amount of conversation that you guys have at these at barbershop conversations, these armchair moments, literally are like the conversations that are had at dinner tables still, that are had, at the beauty salon, like
Hmm.
these are the same kind of conversations. And it allows people a little bit a better insight as to how you are.
No, no,
Listen, it's just an opinion. Like if you
no.
take it for what it is,
I
listen.
because that makes me think of two things that I think are so true. One, black folks aren't a monolith, and so when you're in there, like people are debating back and forth actively. It's not like everyone, someone says one thing and everyone's like, "Yeah, I agree." That's one, and then two, the other part that I think folks that haven't been in those barbershops don't experience is like again, this is the second time you've given me chills in this conversation. That was like one of my first coming of age moments where I started to feel like an adult or a man was when I was in the barbershop and I felt comfortable enough to voice my opinion in the conversation. Up
Yeah,
until 15, 16 years old, I was sitting back and I was listening. You're an observer of the adult men talking in that space. And I'll never forget the first time I really wanted to say something and I finally did. And there was no like, who is this or was he saying? They're like, okay, and they accepted me into the conversation. That was like a very tangible coming of age moment. And that, I mean, that's what the community barbershop is for. Like that is what it fosters and can drive. So I actually couldn't agree more.
yeah, just one of those like it could help. I'm just
Yeah.
we get we
Yeah.
we're trying to get you into that seat.
Yep.
We're trying to get you into that seat. And I know like turn and for those people who don't have turn signal on their phone, please get it. Like
Yeah.
I after I got it, I'm just like it really is that safety net. And I hate to say it, but you have to practice. You
Hmm.
have like I would remember thinking like I actually forgot one day, and I was just like, "This, I can't forget this app that I have it on my
Yeah.
phone." And you just never know when you're gonna need it. And I hate
Yeah.
to say it, you're most likely gonna need it at one of the worst moments in your life. You're being
Thanks.
pulled over. You're in a car accident. You crashed your bicycle. You're on your motorcycle, and something horrible happened. But you provide such a great app that is absolutely necessary in this time and space. Now, what would you say to those people going back to the turn signal
Yeah.
side now?
Yeah.
What and this tapping into the lawyer
Yeah.
perspective, what is your biggest concern for people who are getting pulled over and who
Can you hear me still?
hold on
I
for
got
one
you.
sec. Can you hear me? Okay,
I
there
got
it
you
is.
now. Yeah, my biggest concern is, when I watch videos or I see folks as a lawyer, when I see folks interacting with law enforcement, I always have a lot of feelings. I feel like it's what a doctor feels like when they're watching like a medical drama. And one of the things I always say is like, what happens is there's an initiation of a conversation that feels informal, and that it feels like you're rude if you're not answering the question. Like, hey, where are you coming from? Okay. Oh, do you live over there? What are you typically doing over there? This isn't engaging in like a playful, fun conversation. This is an investigation. And people are too scared to assert their rights or be direct in that moment, especially here. Everyone knows the phrase Minnesota nice, and you don't want to be confrontational or rude. And what I always say is that's why turn signal is so valuable. It gives you the permission to stand up in that moment and just directly and politely assert your rights, right? It's, hey, would you mind? I'm sure there's nothing in your car, right? Would you mind if we looked through it? It doesn't matter if you do or don't have something in your vehicle. An answer of, well, if you don't have reasonable articulable suspicion giving you probable cause, then like, no, I'm not comfortable with it. And instead of even having to say that, saying the attorney on the phone said I shouldn't let anyone search my car without probable cause. It gives you permission to just be direct while being polite and honest about your rights and leveraging them in that moment because you should, because too often there's a power dynamic in those situations that is hard to overcome.
Yeah. I'm not kidding. I love the app. I practice at least
Yeah.
like every Monday, Tuesday. And
Mm,
it's because you have to, it's like a fire drill now for me. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, we practiced fire drills as kids, so we knew where we were going and what to do in case a fire broke out in the house. We all met at the big tree across at the neighbor's
yeah.
house. Like we all had a plan and a strategy. And I think we have to kind of tap back into that and remind ourselves with like the 80 different apps that we have on our
Hmm.
phones that when we need help, Turnsignl is one of those apps that absolutely is there for people to utilize.
Yeah.
And I just thank you.
Oh, I appreciate it. And
Thank you so much.
I think, beyond what you do for Turns, you do so much for our community, like elevating all of the work that's being done in all of these spaces and all these different sectors, folks that are working so hard to build businesses that are trying to give them economic independence in their lives, but also for generations to come and for the community. Uh, so much of us, so many of us reach our audiences and the people that we know would love our products because of you. So I think you're the one that deserves the flowers because we wouldn't be here without you and folks like you doing the supportive work on that end. So
Listen,
thank you.
thank you. Like I have my platform simply because I don't think people realize how many great businesses are actually out there. And the
Yeah.
concern is that we're going to lose more businesses because of lack of brand awareness. And to get to brand awareness, it's costly.
Yeah.
You're splitting the dollar on brand awareness for a turn signal and then brand awareness, these phone calls. You're splitting yeah, for brand awareness
You're good.
is for your mayoral candidacy. And like you said, every dollar counts. And it doesn't matter if it's for your candidacy or if it's for turn signal, but just getting out in front of people it really is mixing audiences.
Yeah.
And there are millions, billions of people online every single day. But the most effective way to get to the community past like just being walking the streets and doing it doggedly is literally being on social media. So why not combine our platforms?
Yeah.
It does us a disservice to not work together. So it's best that no matter what we are or what we're doing, that we start building out the community that we always wish to see and be a part of. And that really is like one person at a time, one business at a time, and one brand at a time. And doing that, and it is much easier. And I want people to see understand that it's much easier than people think it is.
Yeah.
And for the people who are stealing from us, like I'll talk about you too.
Yeah. Let them know. Let them
Like,
know.
I don't want people to waste money or lose money.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
$1.9 billion lost to social media scams online in 2024 is just a piece of it. It's not even like 1.9 billion. It's actually a lot more than that. So those are the only people who actually reported it.
Yeah.
And I want people to know of businesses like yours, like Turn Signal could literally save someone's life.
Yeah.
Because this is the environment, unfortunately, that we're in. And I know as a parent, one of the like I don't have any children.
Mhm.
My child is 79 years old. I call her mom.
Yeah. Love it.
But as a parent to like three small kids, as you watch them grow up, I know that has to be a concern for you that they stay aware and have that voice and education and information to know the right from wrong environment um, to avoid it when it comes to like police engagement, police interaction. And you pour into them all that you know, you keep pouring into them, but when the rubber hits the road and they're out there on their own at 17, at 22, what do you think you're hoping for with like turn signal as it grows out to not just be nationwide with motor vehicles, and hopefully like you'll just as you're walking down the street,
Yeah. Yeah.
hopefully that will be coming. What do you hope that your kids will take away as like dad's always watching because he's got us with turn signal?
Yeah.
Like, is that the end of it?
Yeah, I think when I think about Turnsignl in the future, I use the fancy lawyer word of ubiquity, right? I in the way that people are like, oh, like my wife and I went out to eat last night and we had a few drinks and we Ubered home. You don't have to explain what that is to me. I know that that means you got in a car and someone drove you home. I want that same kind of common vernacular for Turnsignl. I want someone to say, "Oh, I was walking in a, like you said, the protest version in the future, or the immigration version, which is hopefully in the not so distant future. Oh yeah, like yep, ICE came, but we had Turnsignl. It was all good. That is my goal. That ubiquity is the goal, where everyone knows that there's a lawyer to be there for you in your moment of need instantly. And guess what? Maybe it doesn't have to stop there. Maybe it's beyond lawyer and it's whatever professional services you need in that moment, right? We need to continue to make it available. The technology does so many harmful things in our society nowadays. And not often enough do we use it to do really, really helpful things. Like that is what the word innovation is all about. It's like it's funny when we started Turnsignl, before I knew that I would ever go into politics, our phrase that we used was like, if we're struggling to legislate this issue, then we have to innovate around this
Yeah.
issue. And that's how we should be using technology. And so yes, I want my children, whether they're my daughter's 7 now or when she's 27, I want her to know that someone's going to be there that knows exactly how to handle the situation instantaneously, because we have technology and we should be doing that in the first place.
That's awesome. Jazz, thank you so much for all this
No,
time. Like I wish you know understand how great you are. That's
you're
like
so kind. I
like
appreciate
it's like I love like you keep it as simple as straightforward as possible. And that's I think what everybody's looking for. They're not looking to be like, oh, the hopes and the dreams and the wishes and the prayers. No, let's keep this as real as possible.
it.
Like this is what we're dealing with. And let's address this head on.
Yeah, yep.
So you and your co-founders is you pulled together your superhero status of creating this app. Thank you. And now your mayoral candidacy. Listen, I'll send some
I
dollars here to you. Like
appreciate
seriously.
you. Hey, it's jazzformayor.com, jazz FOR mayor.com, and you can go there to hit the donate button, or the see the vision, where how we outline what the vision for the city is, but also to see events that are coming up. If you want a phone bank, or if you want to volunteer virtual or from wherever in the country, we got you. Well, we'd love to have you.
Awesome, awesome. I think there was a question. If you'd like to stay up to date with Jazz campaign, follow us and
Oh,
donate. I
look at
love your
that.
team is always on
Hey,
it.
hey, I have some incredible women that are running this campaign, and people are like, "How do you do it?" I'm like, "The women on my campaign and my wife, that's all I need in life, I feel like." So I'm good to go.
Yeah, thanks to Cree and
Yeah,
Lois,
yeah.
like they are amazing. Yeah, they're always on it. They're always on it.
There, that is the absolute truth.
All right, thanks, Jazz. And
Thank you so
again, if
much.
anybody wanted to almost, if anybody wants to reach out and donate, again, go to you can follow them. You can follow Jazz for Mayor here on Instagram, and just follow the link in the bio to make any donations and keep up with them. All
I
right,
appreciate you.
all right.
It's
Thanks
good to
again.
see you.
Bye.
Bye bye.